Apple is suing OpenAI. So we're going from the government to a good old fashioned corporate showdown. Apple has filed a lawsuit against OpenAI, trade secret theft, and a breach of contract. With that said, the complaint is spicy. Apple filed in the Northern District of California, and they're not framing this as a couple of bad apples, pun intended. They're alleging a pattern, and they're alleging it was directed from the top. They named OpenAI's chief hardware officer, Tang Tan, who, and this detail that makes the whole thing land, spent 24 years at Apple, most recently as a VP of product design for the iPhone and Apple Watch. What does the complaint accuse him of? Using Apple's confidential internal project code names during OpenAI's recruiting process, asking job candidates to bring Apple hardware components with them to interviews, coaching departing Apple employees on how to get around Apple's own security procedures, and asking for details about unannounced products. Apple's whole culture is secrecy. Internal projects get code names specifically so that even people inside the building don't know what they're working on. If those code names are showing up in the competitor's job interview, that's not a coincidence. That's a signal. There's a second person named, is that Chang Lu?
Yep.
Yeah, Chang Lu, 8 years at Apple as a senior systems electrical engineer. Apple alleges that he left for OpenAI in 2026, never returned his Apple issued laptop. Hang on, where we at? And used it to download confidential technical documents, and that he shared Apple's confidential information with other Apple employees who were interviewing at OpenAI, including advising at least one of them what to study before the interview. Apple says they sent OpenAI a letter about this back in February. They say they got no response. And then there's a line from the filing that everybody's going to quote. Apple says, this is the tip of the iceberg. That's kind of scary. Now, here's the why now. OpenAI is widely rumored to be building its first hardware product. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo suggests back in April, it could be a smartphone, one where AI agents replace apps entirely, and OpenAI already bought Jony Ive's device startup, IO, for $6.5 billion last year. Ive, by the way, is not named in this filing. .io is. So Apple isn't just protecting the IP. Apple is looking at a company that might be building a thing that competes with the iPhone. So, for people that's listening, for trade secrets, confidential business information that gives you a competitive edge, designs, processes, supplier list, specs, unlike a patent, is protected by keeping it secret, not by registering it. Specific allegations. Code names used in recruiting candidates asked to bring hardware components to interviews, departing employees evade security procedures, unreturned Apple laptop used to download confidential docs, a proprietary metal finishing technique allegedly used by OpenAI after a partner was misled into thinking Apple had approved it. Come on now.
That part.
Apple wants to bar OpenAI from using, disclosing the trade secrets, return of confidential materials, evidence preservation. Apple says it lacks visibility into what is happening inside of OpenAI. Court gives them the legal discovery, the power to compel documents and testimony. Sometimes the lawsuit is the investigation. So
I got some more tea there.
Okay.
So it looks like I want to get more to the show and tell detail. Is worse than reported. So Apple alleges that Tan directed candidates to bring actual parts, those parts being batteries, logic boards, and SIPs to interviews, and that OpenAI asked for CAD, design artifacts and prototypes, plus details on subsystem and component selection, integration tooling, and vendor selection. And I think that that's insane. To an interview, you're clearly and are they not signing NDAs? Because you usually have to sign an NDA before you interview about how they won't use this, all this whatever. Huh?
OpenAI right now. Like, hold on. Where's the other one at?
And they're partners though, so it's really weird.
Dang, it's kind of low, but
you're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business. Is it?
That's Apple back to him.
No,
but
for real.
How you don't know I'm not supposed to take something from my company to another company interview?
No, how y'all using these? It's a lot going on.
And I'm trying to understand how were they? Okay, I got an idea how this went for the insider threat. Then Did the guy never say he was gone, so he still had access to his Apple laptop?
Why did he not return the laptop?
That's what I'm saying.
Why did y'all let him not
But no,
return the
just- but
laptop?
this
Why
was-
did you not wipe the laptop?
But this is what I'm saying though. He might have already downloaded something before he even said, I'm gone.
And that's why you need to have data security. This is why I do data
But
security.
they should know that.
This
but
is why data security is important.
it's one of them things too where people, we know how it works in corporate. If a person does a certain job, sometimes they get leeways to do things to where maybe they didn't have the data properties labeled the correct way on a device, and so they was able to download it.
But I think the scary part is that Apple is not just saying you stole our stuff or you took our stuff. You took our stuff and you took our people and you told them how to steal on the way out. That's insane.
Do you think ChatGPT helped them out with that?
I mean, yeah. Probably the head honcho.
I was being funny. Like, did they ask ChatGPT how
I'm-
they can steal their stuff from
I'm
them?
sure. Yeah, we asking it everything else these days. And it's a 40-page complaint. That's insane. A laptop that never got returned and a guy who pretended like he didn't know the rules. You know what you is and you ain't supposed to do on that level.
Right.
Insider risk is real. Data security can help take care of that. Get into data security. If you want to get into data security, hit me up. I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's crazy. And so briefly for everybody's coming in, I briefly was telling people about AI and how just because AI tells you, it reminds me of one time I had a client who put his interview through AI and it said he did well. But when I listened to it, I didn't hear the same thing. And so there is a bias of using AI that's mostly going to agree with you did well. That's why I like to use transcripts so it can look at what's being said, not listening, but it can see what's said back and forth and see if it's actually good or not. Now,
I can't believe they didn't wipe the laptop.
I think it was, but you got to think about it though. The wipe only going to happen if it's going to connect to Apple's network.
Yeah, because it is.
So that's what I'm saying. If he got the job and then worked the job for a little bit and then said, like, think about it. The perfect scenario is
endpoint management is not my endpoint management is not my thing, but endpoint DLP is my thing.
Well, I'm saying it because we have to, like, if somebody immediately gets terminated or something like that, we got a playbook that we run through that we go contain and host and stuff like that. However, if you don't know the person being fired, the person decides to say, "Oh, I'm gonna take three weeks of PTO."
And then on top of it was the role, they were a VP. So because they were in that elevated position, there should have been some elevated things being done. Like they should have been looking back over the last 30, 60, 90 days to see what this person has been doing. But that should be a trigger.
Yes,
so
RBA.
the trigger was that you're leaving the company. That's the trigger to go then look back to see what have you been doing over the last few months with our data.
Yeah, that's RBA. But also, though,
what's RBA?
Risk-based access.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, I'm lying. RBA stands for risk-based alerting.
Alerting.
I said access. I was thinking about access and name, but that should have been an RBA rule because certain things, if it has certain type of severity, it shouldn't be downloaded.
That data. Exactly.
So it should have been,
especially in mass amounts. But also, I will say a lot of the times companies do be having this stuff in place, but the triggers they be so high.
Nah, it shouldn't matter. Something like this. Hey, the RBA rule, like confidential information being downloaded, not connected directly on Apple's network. Like you could be connected through the VPN, but if you're not directly plugged into the network,
but
why
that
you
would definitely be
that?
like a more of a DLP endpoint policy. Targeting that specific device.
Well, both. So on the blue team side, right? If we see a service account or somebody make some changes in the cloud that we didn't see in the 90 days, it very well could have happened 60 days ago. Mm-hmm. But because we didn't see it in 90 days, it'll trigger alert. And then that's why you got to go look at the history and see, is this actually expected or what? And a lot of times it's hard to do because most times, based on what your logging would be, a lot of people only carry like 90 days worth of logs in their SIM.
1,000%.
And you got to dethaw like anything else.
Yep.
But for him, it should have been immediately. For certain people, that guy I think might have been like high up there. Certain people there,
he was definitely high up there.
Those are the type of people that.
But he should be like a not a protected user, but like a, what's the word I'm looking
VIP?
for? Yeah. Yep.
But so here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that
or priority person. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that people like him, because I would do it if I was running stuff, people like him, I would definitely say, hey, on our execs, these people that do specialized roles, advanced email monitoring on their emails.
But that's why it's important for the people who are managing the tools to, because just because you're VP, because VPs do feel like, well, I'm VP, I need to get this, and this is important, and why you're supposed to give them a very granular position or permissions within your company, because they have the ability to wreak havoc on your environment. And I don't know if they have an insider risk tool in place, but it would have picked up on, it should have picked up on a lot of the things that were happening.
Yeah, of course. But we know how that is.
Yeah.
We definitely know how it is.
And just because you have the tool in place and it's on, don't mean it's configured best for your environment and your employees.
Yeah, and that's where the whole top-down approach goes from. Like I said, that's why I shouldn't be siloed, because you got your threat intel, you got your blue team, you got your insider threat people. They are supposed to be making stuff specifically for that. But like I said, I don't know if Buddy had I don't know. Like, I would love to
get more.
To follow this, to figure out what happens when this hopefully goes to court. Like, what would be cool? You know how
it's confusing though, because they're also partners.
It don't matter.
I know.
What they say, keep your friends close,
enemy closer. But it's confusing, because what does that do to the partnership? Because Apple Intelligence is powered by.
I mean, hey, they may start using Anthropic because you're trying to steal from me.
Offboarding is serious, and a lot of companies are not managing that process well.
At all. That goes into that.
And we can have a whole episode about that.
Yeah.